Hello everyone and welcome back. In the last few lectures, we have discussed about entering data, date formats, and along with that, we have also discussed about how to edit and delete data in Excel. Now, in this lecture, we are going to talk about a very important concept that is cell reference in Excel. So, let's get started. Now, as we know that each worksheet in Excel consists of several cells formed by rows and columns, right? Each cell has specific reference which helps the users to easily access or address the desired cells within the function. Cell references plays an important role in Excel, especially when using functions and formulas with large data sets. Now let's see what is cell reference exactly. So, a cell reference refers to the name or address of a specific cell or range of cells within the spreadsheet. It is commonly used as a variable in Excel formulas. While representing the cell reference, we need to specify the column name followed by the row number of the respective cell. So, from the definition, it is quite clear that cell reference is the address of a specific cell or range of cells within the spreadsheet, and while representing it, we need to write the column name first, followed by the row number of the respective cell, just like it is shown here in this image. Here we have this cell selected, and according to the definition, we have to specify the column name first, so it's column C here, right? And the column name is mentioned here in the address bar. Have a look. Then the column name has to be followed by the row number of the respective cell. So the row number of this respective cell is 6, right? So the cell reference for this particular cell will be C6, isn't it? So I hope that the definition of cell reference is clear to you. Now let's hop into our Excel application for better understanding. So here we are inside our Excel application, and as we have just talked about the cell reference a little bit, I want you to know that it is a very important concept as far as formulas are concerned. And I'm going to make it quick because we will discuss about this concept again and again in the upcoming lectures. Alright? Now just think about how do you reference content within an Excel document. This might be common knowledge. You may have done this many times. If not, this is something that's going to follow you around everything you do in Excel, especially when it comes to formulas. So just imagine somebody sends you this document. You download and save it on your system. And then they send you an email asking you to take a look at some values. Look at the values for XYZ month or for XYZ product or whatever. You just open this Excel document. This is a pretty simple one, right? It may not be that difficult to find. But what if you had all the months listed in there and they say go look at the month of August. But then imagine they forgot to tell you the product name. Then you again write an email asking the product for which they need the bill or whatever. Then they revert you back after a day or two. Then you finally send them the bill. Now just think about it. Wouldn't it be nice if they told you where to look in the very beginning, the exact address of the cell? So that's where cell references come into play. Now when somebody says February, just have a look. It starts inside of the cell C3, right? And I can find it right there in the top left corner of my screen in the address bar. And there it is. We can see C3 here. Now if I click somewhere else, let's say I want you to look at March value for honey. Well, that's inside of the cell D11, right? So you can see it up there. D11, present right there in the address bar. So these are our cell references. They can also be referenced as a range of cells. I can say I want you to look at all the February values that goes from C1 down to cell C18. Now I will select all the cells from C4 down to cell C18, and now if we look at the box at the top, it still tells us C4, just one cell, right? Because that's the active cell within that selection. But actually, we have got that range of cell from C4 to C18. Now, I will tell you a couple of shortcuts where you can also reference non-contiguous cells, or we can say the cells that are not adjacent to each other. This will become very important when you get into formulas. or when you get into something that you want to reference as a range of non-contiguous group of cells. So let's say I want you to look at some row headers here. Let's grab all the data for apples. Now I also want you to grab the data for butter, while butter is 5 cells down, right? Keeping the data for apples selected, we can hold down the control key on our keyboard and select all the data for butter. So now we can get a non-contiguous group of cells. So this is again just real quick cell references. If you reference cells, you reference the location of these values. So it's really important for our next lecture where we get into the formulas, because that's what you're going to do. You are going to reference the data by its cell reference. Alright, so get ready for it. Take a moment in here and spend just a little bit of time and identify where these different values are, which cell, which column, and which row they are located in. So that's all for this lecture. I'm going to end it here and see you in the next one. Thank you.